In this video, we will talk about converting moles of a substance to grams of a substance. So the SI unit of amount of a substance is known as a mole, but we're typically used to measuring things in grams or kilograms, but in chemistry, it's all about the mole. So first practice problem here is what is the mass in grams of each of the following samples? So we have 0.0015 moles of lead. We want to convert it to grams of lead. So here we utilize the definition of the mole, and that is the amount of grams in 1 mole of a substance. That's something we can get from the periodic table. So lead has the elemental symbol Pb. So I got my periodic table handy. 1 mole of lead, where are you? Lead, yeah. 1 mole of lead 1 mole of lead has 207.2 grams of lead. So let's go ahead and use that as our conversion factor. 0.0015 moles of lead is what we're given. Lead is Pb. 1 mole of lead is 207.2 grams of lead. And on my calculator, we got 0.31 grams of lead after my calculation. Notice that the moles of Pb cancels out with the moles of Pb. This relationship was taken directly from the periodic table. Also note this conversion factor. We have the grams in the numerator and the moles in the denominator, whereas in the previous problem when we were doing the opposite, when we were converting grams to moles, we had this relationship flipped. We do what we have to do to get our units to cancel out. How about 0.0163 moles of Valium, the antidepressant drug, whose formula is C16H13Cl N2O? So I went ahead and calculated, the molecular weight of this substance utilizing values from the periodic table. So carbon is about 12.01 grams per mole. That's for 1 mole of carbon, but we don't have 1 mole, we have 16 moles. We have 13 hydrogens, each one at a mass of 1.01 grams per mole, again taking that from the periodic table. Chlorine, looking that up, we have 1 mole of that, and 1 mole is about 35.45 grams per mole. We have 2 nitrogens, so 2 nitrogens is at each one is 14.10 grams per mole. And then we have an oxygen is about 16.01 grams per mole. Adding all of this up, we have 1 mole of this whole entity, this whole Valium molecule, has a mass of 283.95 grams. So 1 mole of that substance has the mass 283.95. But we do not have 1 mole, we have 0.0163 moles. So let's go ahead and multiply this by that to cancel out the moles and give us the correct answer in grams. So doing this calculation from this molecular weight, we are getting 0.0163 moles of Valium, which is given to us, multiplying that by 283.95, the molecular weight. Be aware that the moles of the molecule Valium with this formula cancels out with the moles. We're getting 4.63 grams. So if I had 4.63 grams of Valium, it is equivalent of me having 0.0163 moles of Valium. Likewise, if I have 0.31 grams of lead, that is the equivalent of having 0.0015 moles of lead. They are the same thing, they're just different units of the amount of substance being measured.